guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tanya Sidegigcrafts. Today is Tumbler Tuesday. It's Tumbler Tuesday here in my craft room. So I've got a few started. These are going to be Halloween little goodies. This is an order. And I have gotten these off the turner. So I've got epoxy. I've spray painted, epoxied, glittered, and epoxied again. Got a fairly smooth surface on most of these. I need to put some decals. So what we're going to do today is those decals. They each need to be different. These are the decals that were chosen. This is on Hayes water slide decal paper. You can purchase this on Amazon. I like the Hayes Paper Company one. I'll put a link in the description box if you're interested in checking that out for your projects. But I really like this one. I think I've tried one other and I didn't like it as well, and I went back to this one. This one has always worked really well for me, so I do recommend it. And yeah, so once they're printed by the printer on this paper, they do have to be sealed because otherwise the ink will just wash right off. And you just spray paint it with some clear spray paint. Some people will tell you got to spray it 3 times. I don't. I just make sure that I get it real good and covered the first time and let it dry. And it works just fine for me. I've had a few problems here and there, like anything, but that was because of me and I didn't spray it properly. So never been a problem with the paper. So because these are clear on the outside of this, I don't have to get right around that. There's a couple of them that have a couple, let's see, where is it? This one has a flaw in the print. So I'm going to get pretty close to that one, just right there. And we can just cut this way because that will not show. And my printer was messing up a little. If you look close, you can see the lines in the paper or in the print. Oh, oh no, I'm fine. Which is kind of a bummer, but actually because they're Halloween, I think it's okay because it's going to have some little bit of texture to it. It looks a little bit rougher, and I kind of like it. So I'm not going to worry about that. I am going to get this one because these cups are slanted. I'm going to have to get this around here a little bit less paper will make it wrinkle less. I'll have an easier time on this one. Okay. And actually, I'm going to get a little closer to this one too. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect because the outside, the printer doesn't print white. So the outside of the design won't show. And I'll show you what I mean. This is a clear water slide. So all the white parts are going to be clear, and the color from the back side of the cup is actually going to be what shows. So these should be trimmed up pretty good now. So the first thing we need to do is make sure we got to find a smooth spot, a fairly smooth spot. It doesn't have to be perfect. Can't sand it under here because it'll scratch up the design, it'll scratch it up and it'll look real foggy behind there. Then when you put this decal on there, it'll stay that way. And so you want to make sure you find you've got a really good smooth spot. That's a pretty good spot right there because you won't be able to sand it. Now next, after these are printed and sealed, you got to dip it in water and let it curl up a little bit. You'll know it's done when it starts opening up again. It just takes a little bit, just a few 30 seconds or so. You'll see it's already opening up. There it goes. It's going to start flattening out and then I'll know it's ready. Okay, next we've got to let me set these aside so they don't get wet in the process because then it's just going to be a mess when I try to use them. We'll go ahead and get the surface of the cup wet. It'll help me slide this a little better. See, it's quite open now. And if you check it, you'll see that the design slides right off the paper. This is kind of like those little tattoos that you get in the Cracker Jacks box. And carefully just slide paper. Now they're really delicate, so you want to be careful how you slide it, how quickly, and all that, because they will tear quite easily. And then it's got some wrinkles in there, so we're going to have to try to smooth those out. Best way to do that is with a dry paper towel. Just kind of start at the middle and just kind of start working it. Remember, there's a little bit of water under there from when we wet the cup. Make sure it's nice and straight because once this dries, you won't be able to move it anymore. There's no going back at that point, and just kind of smooth it out. There's a few bumps under this one, little bit of bumps, but you do want to make sure, and that's okay because it'll cover. See how the glitter comes through the empty spots because where it didn't print? Isn't that great? So that color comes right through. You want to make sure that the water is smoothed out. So starting from the middle, just kind of smooth it out, not too rough, because then it'll tear or stretch. And we're good. And make sure there's no air bubbles under there, because that'll just mess it up. Isn't that cute? And then we're going to put epoxy over it. And that'll have to work overnight. Let's do the next one. Look how easy they are. And actually the lines didn't show up too bad on there, did it? It's kind of cute. So we'll just wait for that one to uncurl. We'll look for a smooth spot. I think I've got a really good spot. Ooh, right in here. This is probably the best spot right in here. So that's starting to open now. Let's go ahead and get that wet. I've got one of these cups is really lumpy. The spray paint kind of globbed up. So I'm gonna have to be careful with that one and find a really good spot. Okay, just test this, make sure it slides a little. Yep, it sure does. We'll lay that one there, kind of where we want it. And slide that paper out. Kind of fascinating, right? Now, I'm not sure what all you can use these decals on, but they are a lot of fun. I'd imagine you probably, I wonder if you could make tattoos for like your skin, like, you know, the temporary tattoos and stuff. You'd still have to seal it somehow. I don't know. The spray paint, if you don't spray it too thick, see, the thicker you spray the spray paint, which is why I tend to not spray it too much, the thicker it gets, it starts feeling like plastic. So if you did a light layer like I've been doing, it might be, I wonder if you could do like temporary tattoos. I don't know. Never tried it. But this would be fun on any of your like ceramic projects or something like that. If you, well, no, maybe not ceramic projects. I don't know how that would work because you have to fire the glaze. And that's like really hot. So I don't know if how that would respond. But yeah, might have to look up and see what other projects these would be good for. But for this, for sure. Oh, this one's like really smooth. See how it's got some lump? Oops, I'm gonna have to, shucks. So you know what those are? Those are gnats. One of the things about epoxy, I'll tell you, it attracts the bugs. Gnats will come over sometimes. I've had flies stuck in there. Ugh, such a pain. I always try to make sure my lights are turned off when I've got epoxy going, just to make sure that the flying bugs just stay away. Stay away. But it looks like I got a couple in there. I'm gonna have to sand those out really quick, and I'll show you how I do that. Just a couple of little gnats. And honestly, probably nobody would have noticed those, but I did, so I know what that is. I'm not gonna leave it. It came down a little bit more than I wanted it to. I'm putting my thumb at the bottom so that when I wipe it, it won't move so much. This one's had a little more water underneath it, so it's sliding a little easier. Isn't that cute? So when this is done, I know it looks kind of matte now, but when it's done, it's going to be shiny and sparkly and gorgeous. So I will be sure to show you guys these when they're finished. Okay, so there's that one. Let's go ahead and see if we can get those little buggers out of there. These are not, these are just from the spray paint being bumpy, but these right here, and I think I'm gonna try this method first. should be able to sand that down a little bit. Just want to be careful not to go too deep here and make a pit. When I put another layer of epoxy, it'll fill in the little gaps that I'm making when I'm doing this, and it'll be fine. You won't even notice it. But it's just a very thin layer of epoxy that's holding that little guy in there. And he's already doomed, so I'm certainly not hurting him at all. There we go, that should work. And I'm gonna go ahead and just hit it real quick with my sanding block just to make sure. And I'm gonna try to get, I think this is where we're gonna put the decal. I'm gonna try to hit these spots so that they'll start smoothing out this next layer. Maybe I won't be leaning my arm on the desk as everything slides from shaking the table. And that's gonna look really bad right now, but the epoxy's you'll never see it. With the next layer of epoxy, it'll never show. As long as I don't go too deep, because if I go too deep, I'm gonna get into the, start taking that glitter and the paint off, and that's not what we want. We just want it to be smooth. Okay, get those off too. That's just part of the process. These are going to be, this is a special order that I'm making right now, but once these are done and I have a really good picture, I will be posting them in my Etsy shop too. So, because I have a few more of these, what is that one? A few more of these cups that I can make. That's a whole pit. That must have been an air bubble. That's a bummer. No, you know what it is? It's not. That is just the lump of paint. That's the lump of paint. It's empty because the paint came out. But once again, that will cover, sand is smooth, that'll cover with the next layer. So I'm not worried about that. Right. Now, because I sanded up all the rest of it, I have to do the decal on this side. Because otherwise that will never go away. The epoxy has to be on top of the epoxy to make it shiny again. And I'm gonna have to figure out, hopefully this will turn out okay. I may have to do some doctoring on that one yet. But I won't know until it's done. Or until the next layer goes on. I might have to do some bandage on that, which shouldn't be a problem. What I'll do if that happens, the only thing that I'm worried about that one's not done yet, that happening is it might not have glitter in it, which is no big deal because I can put epoxy over it that has glitter in the epoxy and it'll just cover right up. So I'm not too worried. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Make sure it's as straight as I can get it. Super cute. All right, I love it. All right, you guys, so that is Tumbler Tuesday. I don't have a lot to show you today, just that. Kind of tell you a little bit about what's going on. I do have some monster cups I'll be making for the same order and some Pokemon cups. So it's quite a large order, so I'll be working on these for a minute. But I'll show you how they turn out once they're done, and we'll work on the next ones. So hope you're all having a great day. Thanks for joining me today on what is Tumbler Tuesday for me and my craft room. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.